Hello everyone, welcome to Mathematics video class for class 9. The chapter for today's discussion is Polynomial. As the first part of this chapter has been already done in the previous video, let us begin with the second part. The topic for today's discussion is zeros of a polynomial, remainder theorem and factor theorem. Let us first begin with zeros of polynomial. Now, what is the meaning of zero? Zero of a polynomial. So, let us first understand the meaning of zero. Zero means the value of a variable which when substituted in the given polynomial gives the last answer as 0. That value of a variable is known as the zero. Let us see as to how do we find out the zeros of a given polynomial with some examples. So, the question that we have is find the zeros of the polynomial. The first question is question number A. Px is equals to x minus 5. Now, let us see as to how do we find the zeros of this given polynomial. So, in order to find the zeros of this given question, the first thing that we have to do is the polynomial which is there, you have to convert this as a equation. That means equals to 0. So, I have taken the polynomial that is x minus 5 and have written as equals to 0. You keep the variable in the left hand side and take the numbers to the right hand side. So, the minus will go to the right hand side as positive 5. So, the value of x has been found, or we can say the value of the variable has been found as positive 5. This value which we have found by using the polynomial, we will substitute the same value in the question, that is p. Now, instead of 5 we are going to write, instead of x we are going to write 5 equals to, so 5 minus 5. So, the answer for this will become 5 minus 5 will give you 0. So, which is the value which when substituted in the variable gives you the answer of the polynomial as 0. That same value is known as the zeros. So, we say therefore x minus 5 is the zeros of the polynomial, which can also be written as, or the same thing can be also written as x is equals to 5 is the zeros of the polynomial. Is the same thing, but it can be written in two different ways. So, this is how we can find the zeros of a given polynomial, the first question. Now, let us go to the second question. In the second question, what we have is fx equals to 3x plus 1. So, the first thing that we are going to do is, in order to find the zeros, you will have to write the given polynomial as an equation which is equals to 0. After that, you will find the value of the variable. So, in order to find the value of the variable, that is x, first let us take the 1 to the other side, which will go as minus 1. And then the next thing is 3 is there still with the x. You need to take the 3 also to the other side. So, it becomes x is equals to minus 1 divided by 3. Now, how come divided by 3? Because in between 3 and x we didn't have any sign. So, the sign is considered as multiplication. Multiplication goes to the other side as divide. So, this is the value of the variable that is x. Now, in the next step, we come to the question and then instead of the x, we put the value which is minus 1 by 3. That will give us, that is 3 into, instead of x, minus 1 divided by 3, and then we have plus 1. Because of the multiplication, this 3 and this 3 gets cancelled. So, in the next step, we are left with is minus 1 plus 1. So, plus minus, it is minus. 1 minus 1 will give you 0. So, the value which when substituted in the polynomial has given the answer as 0 is known as your zeros of the polynomial. So we say therefore 3x plus 1 is the zero of the polynomial. So this way you can find the zeros of any given polynomial by using this method. The second topic is remainder theorem. Now what is the meaning of remainder theorem is, a polynomial will be given to us, and in that polynomial we need to find the value of the variable which when put in the polynomial or substituted in the polynomial produces or gives us the last remaining answer, that is known as your remainder. So in the simple form or simple way, we can understand that remainder theorem means finding the remainder of the given polynomial. Let us understand the remainder theorem with the help of a question. The question that we have is, find the remainder when the polynomial, the first polynomial that we have is fx is equals to x to the power 3 minus 6x to the power 2 plus 9x plus 3 is divided by another polynomial, that is x minus 1. So how do we find the remainder when the polynomials are given to us? So this is your main polynomial, or we can say in simple form, this is our bigger polynomial and this is our smaller polynomial. In simple form, it means that the smaller polynomial has to divide the bigger polynomial, which can be done in the simple way, that is, the smaller polynomial firstly has to be converted into a equation, that is equals to 0. Always remember, whenever we are finding the remainder, you will be provided with two polynomials. One will be the bigger polynomial, the other one is a smaller expression, or we can say a polynomial. The smaller expression or polynomial has to be converted into a equation, that is equals to 0. And then the next thing is, you need to find the value of the variable whichever is there in the smaller expression or the polynomial. Out here we have x, so you need to find the value of x by taking this minus 1 that side. So the answer of x is positive 1. Now what is the work of this variable that is value 1? We need to substitute the value of the variable that is 1 in the bigger polynomial, that is f. Now instead of x we are going to put its value, that is 1, is equals to, instead of x we will write 1 to the power 3 minus 6 into 1 whole square plus 9 into 1 plus 3. In the next step, let's simplify this. So 1 to the power 3 means you have to multiply 1 3 times. So 1 when multiplied 3 times, it gives us the answer, that is 1. That is 1 into 1 will give you 1. Again into 1 will give you 1. Minus 6 into 1 to the power 2 means 1 multiplied 2 times. That is 1 into 1 will give you 1. Plus 9 into 1 will give you 9. Plus the last one will remain the same. Let's go to the next step. 1 minus, let's multiply this, that is 6 1 is 6. This can be simplified as both of them have the positive sign. So plus will give us plus. So 9 plus 3 will give the answer, that is 12. And in front of that you will have to write the sign of the bigger number, which is 9. So 9 has a positive sign. So in front of the 12 we will write the positive sign of 9. Next step is, we can go for the subtraction. So this has plus sign, the second one has a minus sign. So plus minus will give us minus. 6 minus 1 will give us the answer, that is 5. But in front of that 5 we have to write the sign of the bigger number. So since 6 is a bigger number which has a minus sign, so in front of 5 we are going to write minus sign. And then the plus 12 will be the same. In the next step, multiply both the signs. Plus minus will give us minus. So 12 minus 5 will give us, that is 7. And then we write the sign of the bigger number, which is the sign of your 12, which will be positive. So the answer, the final answer is positive 7, which can be also written as, that is 7 only. So the last answer that we have obtained is 7. So this 7 is known as the remainder. So this is how we can find the remainder of any given polynomial which is to be divided by a smaller expression. The second example of remainder theorem is find the remainder when the polynomial, question is fx is equals to x to the power 3 minus 3x to the power 2 plus 4x plus 50 is divided by a smaller polynomial, or we can say an expression, that is x plus 3. So in this question we need to find the remainder. So how can we find the remainder when a polynomial is to be divided by a smaller expression? The first step that we are going to do is convert the given smaller expression as a equation, that is equals to 0, and then find the value of the variable by taking the numbers to the other side. So when we take the plus 3 to the other side, it becomes minus 3. So the value of the variable, that is x, is minus 3. Now what we are going to do is, with this value, we will be substituting the same on the given polynomial, that is f. Now instead of x, we are going to write its value, that is minus 3, is equals to, instead of the x, the value, that is minus 3 whole cube minus 3 into minus 3 to the power 2 plus 4 into, instead of x, minus 3, which can be written in a bracket or it can be written this way, plus 50. In the next step, let's open the bracket by multiplying according to its power. So it is saying minus 3 to the power 3. So minus 3 to the power 3 means, that is, minus 3 has to be multiplied 3 times. So let's multiply the minus 3 3 times. So first we will multiply with the sign. So minus into minus will give us plus, plus into the last sign, that is minus, will give us minus. So when we are multiplying the minus 3 times, the sign that we get is minus. Now let's multiply 3. So 3 3s is 9 and 9 3s is 27. So we have the answer of minus 3 to the power 3, that is minus 27. So we write out here minus 27. Then minus 3 will be the same into minus 2, minus 3 I mean to say, I'm sorry. Minus 3 has to be multiplied 2 times. That is minus 3 to the power 2 is minus 3 into minus 3. Let's multiply the sign. Minus into minus will give us the sign, that is plus. Let's multiply the numbers now. 3 into 3 will give us 9. So minus 3 to the power 2 means positive 9, which can be written as 9 only. Let's simplify this. 4 has a positive sign, that is plus 4, and this one has a negative sign, that is minus. Let's multiply both the signs. So plus into minus will give us minus. Multiply the numbers. 4 into 3 will give us 12. The plus 50 will remain the same. Let's go to the next step. In the next step, minus 27 will remain the same. Let's first multiply this, because multiplication in board mass comes in front of the addition and subtraction. So minus will remain as it is. The reason is 9 has a positive sign. So plus into minus will give us minus, and 9 3s will give us, that is 27. We can simplify this to 50 has a positive sign and 12 has a negative sign. So plus into minus will give us minus. So from 50 we have to subtract 12. So from 50 when we subtract 12, the answer that we get is 38. And in front of the 38 we write the sign of the bigger number, that is 50, which is positive. Let's simplify this. So minus into minus will give us plus. That means you have to add these two numbers. So 27 plus 27 will give us the answer that is 54. Now, since the values are the same and they have the same sign, we do not write different sign but we write the sign of the same number, as it is very difficult to distinguish which is the bigger number, as both of them are the same. So if the numbers are same and the sign is the same, we write the same sign. And then plus 38. In the next step, plus into minus will give us minus. That means from 54 we have to subtract 38. So when we are subtracting from 54 38, it gives us the answer that is 6 and then 1, that is 16. And then we write the sign of the bigger number, that is 54, which is minus. So the remainder of this question is minus 16. So we can say therefore minus 16 is the remainder of the given polynomial. So this way we can find the remainder of any given question. The next topic is factor theorem. Now what is the meaning of factor? Factor means the variable value which when substituted in any given polynomial gives us the last answer as 0. That variable value is known as your factor. Let us understand the factor theorem with some examples. The question that we have is, show that x minus 3 is a factor of the polynomial fx is equals to x to the power 3 plus x to the power 2 minus 17x plus 50. Now how can we find out that x minus 3 is a factor or not? So in order to find the factor, the first step is the smaller expression has to be converted into a equation by writing it equal to 0. That is x minus 3 equals to 0. Now let's find the value of the variable by sending the number to the other side. So it is x is equals to minus will go to the other side as plus, so it is x equals to 3. So we have found the value of the variable, that is x, as 3. In the next step, we substitute the value of the variable in the given polynomial. That is, instead of x, now we are going to write 3. That is 3 to the power 3 plus 3 to the power 2 minus 17 into, instead of x we will write its value, that is plus 3 plus the last one, that is plus 15, as the same. In the next step, 3 to the power 3 means 3 multiplied 3 times. So when we multiply 3, that is 3 times, the answer that we get is 27 plus 3 is multiplied 2 times. So when 3 is multiplied 2 times, it gives us the answer that is 9. Minus, let's multiply this. So multiplication of this will give us, that is 7 into 3 is 21, 2 is left, 3 ones are 3, 3 plus 2 will give us 5. So the multiplication of 17 into 3 is 51, plus the last one we can write it the same. In the next step, we can add this 2, as 27 has a positive sign and 9 also has a positive sign. So addition of this 2 will give us the answer, that is 36. The sign will come of the bigger number. Since 27 is a bigger number, it has a positive sign. So we write the sign of the bigger number, that is positive, which can be written or it can be ignored. And then let's solve this as the second part. So this has a positive sign and this has a negative sign. So plus minus will give us minus. So 51 minus 15. That is 11 minus 5 will give us the answer, that is 6. This becomes 4. 4 minus 1 will give us the answer, that is 3. And the sign will come of the bigger number. So since 51 is a bigger number, we write its sign, that is negative, in front of 36. In the next step, let's simplify this. So we have positive 36 and negative 36. So plus into minus will give us minus. So 36 minus 36 will give us the answer, that is 0, and 0 does not have any sign. So we have found the value of the polynomial as 0. So the value which when substituted in the given polynomial has given us the answer that is 0, that expression is known as your factor. So we can say therefore x minus 3 is the factor. And why is it known as a factor? Because the value of the variable, that is x equals to 3, when substituted in the given polynomial has given us the last answer that is 0. And that value which gives us the 0 is known as your factor. The next example is, show that x plus 5 is a factor of the polynomial fx equals to 2x to the power 3 plus 9x to the power 2 minus 11x minus 30. So how can we find that x plus 5 is a factor or not? The first step is, you will need to change the given expression, the smaller expression, into a equation. That is by writing the given smaller expression equal to 0, and then find the value of the variable that we have. In this case we have the variable that is x. So we can find the answer of the variable x by sending the number to the other side. So plus 5 will go to the other side as minus 5. So the value of a variable that is x is minus 5. Now with that value we will substitute in the given polynomial, that is fx. Now instead of x we are going to write its value, that is minus 5, is equals to 2 into, now instead of x we will write its value, so minus 5 to the power 3 plus 9 into, instead of x, minus 5 which is to the power 2 minus 11 into, instead of x its value, that is minus 5, and the 30 will remain at the same. In the next step, let's simplify the powers. So 2 into, now minus 5 is multiplied 3 times, that is minus 5 to the power 3 can be multiplied this way in the simple, that is minus 5 into minus 5 into, one more time, minus 5. First of all, we'll multiply the sign. So minus into minus will give us plus, and plus into minus will give us minus. That means we have the sign minus. 5 into 5 is 25, and 25 into one more time 5 will give us 125. That is, when minus 5 is multiplied 3 times, the answer that we get is minus 125. So we write out here minus 125 plus 9, the same, into minus 5 is multiplied 2 times. So when we multiply minus 5 2 times, minus will get converted into positive sign, and 5 into 5 will give us 25. Let's simplify this. Minus into minus is plus, so we write the sign, that is plus. 11 into 5 will give us 55, and the last one, that is minus 30, will remain the same. In the next step, let's multiply these two. So 2 has a positive sign and this has a negative sign. So plus into minus will give us minus. 125 when multiplied 2 times will give us the answer, that is 250. Plus the same, 25 when multiplied with 9 will give us the answer, that is 225. Let's simplify the second last, this two. So 55 has a positive sign and 30 has a negative sign. So plus into minus will give us minus. 25 minus 30 will give us the value which is 25. We will write the sign of the bigger number. So since 55 is a bigger number, we will write its sign which is plus. Let's simplify the first and the second one. The first one has a negative sign, the second one has a positive sign. So plus into minus will give us minus. When we subtract 250 and 225, the answer that we get is 25. But we need to write its sign, which will be written of the bigger number. So 225 is the bigger number. So we write its sign, that is minus, in front of 25. And the last one, that is plus 25, will be the same. In the next step when we go, we multiply the sign, that is plus into minus will give us minus, and 25 minus 25 will give us the answer that is 0. So we have obtained the final answer of the given polynomial when we substituted instead of the value that is x, that is minus 5. We have got the answer that is 0. So if suppose when the value of a variable is substituted in a polynomial and we get the answer as 0, we say the smaller expression, that is x plus 5, is the factor. And if suppose the remainder does not come 0 and instead of 0 we get some other answer, that is a positive number or a negative number, that time it will be not known as a factor. But if the remainder is 0, that time the factor is the given expression. But if suppose the remainder is not 0, that time we call the smaller expression is not the factor. With this, we have come to the end of this video class. The remaining topics will be covered in the other video. Thank you.